أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Once again, this is Brother Abjol from 13 Rivers Trust. Alhamdulillah, weekly 13 Rivers show is taking place live on Facebook. Inshallah, please, brothers and sisters, share, support, and engage with us as well today. Alhamdulillah, I've got a beautiful line of guests today. I've got Brother Anam, who is with us. We've also got Farhana Zaman. She's with us as well. And my co-host, Brother Mumin, he's here with his COVID-19. We will talk to him a little bit later on. But very quickly, let's get the basics out of the way. Brothers and sisters, as you probably know, for us, for 13 Rivers Trust, we're going to do our best to try and engage with the community. We're going to try and bring some broad-based discussions and topics. We want to also hear from yourself the issues that are pertinent, issues that are affecting you, not just for COVID-19, but also generally the types of issues and concerns that you have within your communities. I know there are people watching us from various parts of the UK and some are watching us abroad as well. The best way you can help and support us is to share this on your social media. You can take the link and share it on your Facebook, your Instagram. You can also share it on your WhatsApp messages. If you do that, you will help us by sharing and reaching a wider audience, and also we can engage with the community on a wider perspective. Now, many of us have different backgrounds. Obviously, some of the topics are going to be very, very detailed topics. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and make it easy and comfortable for everyone. Feel free to call us. Feel free to message us. We will take your messages. Please be respectful with your messages. We will give everyone a chance to, raise your points of views. We won't try and close you down and shut you down. We do believe that people's points of views are very important, and especially at certain circumstances that we're under now with the new measures being put in place. We want to give people opportunity for them to kind of communicate, engage with the community, especially online community. Yeah, we should be doing this every week, inshallah, for 1 hour. So hopefully we will come to an end at 10 o'clock. We'll give you the opportunity to watch your news or your programs that you have at 10 o'clock, because we got some feedbacks that people have other engagements of viewing and watching other programs, especially the news, which I don't blame you, because we need to be up to date with that. So very quickly, let me go to my co-host, Brother Abu Mumin. Mashallah, first of all, big jazakallah to you for, with your COVID-19 being positively tested, you still continue to take time with us, share us your experience, and hopefully we can learn from your experience as well. So how are you today?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I am fine, but I get these regular headaches, but alhamdulillah, from what I've seen and heard of other people, my symptoms are mild. Unfortunately, I don't know where I got COVID-19 from, but unfortunately, my 11-year-old son has it. My wife has COVID. My daughter has COVID. So everybody in our household were under lockdown. And there is a different degree of variation, because my son, I think he's been impacted the most. He coughs a lot. And, just below his rib, he's hurting today. So we had to call the emergency NHS help line. So I'm asking everyone to make dua for our family and all the other families and individuals who are suffering from COVID-19.
Inshallah, may Allah make it easy. And, we do know that every individual is very different and will have an impact on you differently. How long did it take for you to get your positive result? Was it easy getting the test done?
No, it was very, very hard, actually. The government website link that everyone's got, it's very hard to get an appointment. And initially, as I've said, it was we were worried about wanting to have him tested, and it was only because I said, look, let's we get tested as well. That we had the test done. Otherwise, there was no symptoms for me and my wife, apart from one day when we lost sense of taste. So yeah, it's been very hard to get the appointments, and I really feel sorry for a lot of families who are not able to get the appointments during that time. Because what it could do effectively, if you have COVID, imagine now you go about doing your business, and you could infect other people. So the sooner we know, the better it is, really.
Great, excellent. I hope you have a comfortable ride with us. Inshallah,
Inshallah.
hope you can function. Inshallah, I know you got your blanket or whatever you got over you at the moment.
That's my
Yeah,
that's my comfy clothes.
good.
I'm ready with my questions for
Yeah,
Enam and
stay.
Farhana.
Well. Before we go to the question, let's give Sister Farhana Zaman an opportunity to kind of like come on board. First of all, Farhana, Jazakallah at short notice for you to come on board. How are you and your family today?
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. We're okay, and my heartfelt prayers to Abu Bai and his family. Hope you get well soon and take it easy. And thanks for the piece of advice that you just given us. Yeah, with the COVID, so much is unknown, so you're kind of like learning every day. Alhamdulillah, me and my family, we're doing well. There's a lot of ups and downs, with the whole new situation, indoors and outdoors, lots of different things you have to juggle with, and every time you have a cough, there's this like worriness. But Alhamdulillah, we're fine and just trying to keep positive.
Jazakallah for coming on board with us today. Hopefully, we'll have you in the future as well, inshallah. Brother Enam, mashallah. How are you and your family today as well?
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah, Abu Bai and Abjol Bai, for allowing me to come on your show. Alhamdulillah, well, and Abu Bai, you and your family are in our prayers. Inshallah, I pray you get back on your feet soon and everybody recovers quickly as possible. It's a very difficult situation that yourselves are in. So all of us are thinking about you and your family, and may you recover quickly. Yeah, it's a very difficult time at Abjol Bai in the whole kind of youth and community work sense. So the times are very unprecedented. Lots of things are happening out there, things that we know about, things that we don't know about. So the most important thing, I think, is that we allow ourselves to share information and talk with each other. I think that's the most important thing, that we find channels to reach out to each other in these difficult times, because that's the best medicine, I think, where people don't feel isolated when they're going through these difficult times. I think that's probably one of the messages I would probably start off with.
No, Jazakallah, Anam. And brothers and sisters, as you can see, we've got a telephone number right in front of us here. Please, brothers and sisters, don't be shy. Give us a call. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us your take on some of the topics we're going to discuss. Have your say in this as well. The number is 0208 1234507. Very easy. It's right in front of us. Please, brothers and sisters, engage with us. Tell us, share us. Because I know a lot of people are very stressed. I know, some people have been suicidal and also, the government is very, very wary that, to go to a second national lockdown is going to be disastrous, not only financially and economically, but the psychological impact and the damage this is doing to elderly people, general public, the young people. It's unprecedented at this particular stage. The world has never experienced something like this before. So therefore, obviously, we're in a very difficult times now. Inshallah, today's discussion, we want to focus around youth work and community work, how we can engage more, what are the aspects, the impacts are for young people, especially in their daily life now, what kind of opportunities that they're missing, and what kind of opportunities that we need to be thinking about for them as well, because obviously we have to think about the new reality, and the new reality is, COVID-19 is definitely having an impact on all different sectors. Many of our youth clubs are closed due to COVID-19. What is happening with our young people? Are they still on the streets? Are there any outreach work taking place? So these are a lot of questions, to be asked. I mean, there has been a lot of stereotyping of young people on the media, that the young people are basically mixing and spreading the COVID everywhere. We just want to look at if that is a reality, and also if we can take young people's perspective. If there are any young people who are watching us, please don't be shy. Just because you see some kind of older generation in front of your screen. You know, some of us have youth work backgrounds. Don't be shy. We will do our best to kind of accommodate you as well. So if you don't want to call us, you can message us. You know, but if you are brave enough to call us, then that'd be really, really good, inshallah. Yeah. We also want to look at, you know, how we can help, you know, our sisters engage in the community. I know there's a lot of sisters who are actively involved in community work, and they're coming at the forefront. Some are providing fantastic leadership, and it's very important always to have a female perspective and try and do our best to, you know, bridge the gap that exists already in our society and all different strands as well. We can only work hard towards that. Yeah, inshallah, it's great to have Farhana with us. We will definitely get that perspective. So if you're a sister out there, young or old, doesn't matter what age, background you come from, please give us a call, share some of your experiences, and collectively we can learn from each other. I know Abu Bai has been desperately trying to get his questions across, so let's start as an icebreaker. Abu Bai, you can fire your questions, and our viewers, you can also try and answer it. You can message us and see if you can give a good answer as well. So, you know, and if you want to call us and tell us the answer, you can do so. So let's see how our panelists do now at the moment. Abu Bai, all yours.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. I'm ready with my questions. My apologies if they come out. They're supposed to be an icebreaker. So the first question is to Farhana. Can you please name one youth and community worker who inspired you? You have 20 seconds to answer.
Okay, this is really totally unprepared, but it's going to be Anam Hoque, because I've known Anam Hoque for a very long time. He's one of the sincere people I've seen in our borough and as a youth worker, and he's climbed up the ladder, but he's still doing the same service, youth service. So yeah, that's my answer.
Jazakallah khair. And Anam, same question, please. Who inspired you?
So the person who inspired me is Fazlul Hoque.
He's watching, by the way.
He's watching, yeah. So I have Fazlul to thank for everything. Fazlul found me and my friends being naughty and messing around in the gut, in the Chicks and Gut. And he invited us to come to the youth club in the Davenant Center, when the Progressive Youth Organization used to run the youth club in the Davenant Center. And we went there. And he said, look, this is my job. I get paid for it. And we saw them playing snooker, and we saw them playing darts and cranboard. And we said, you get paid to do this? I want that job. That's what inspired me.
You know what? The funny thing is, Anam, he's also one of those people who inspired me. And inshallah, he was messaging. I think we should invite him along, inshallah. Okay.
So can I just say, there's a lot of names. I know Fazlul as well. I would have said Fazlul, Chunubai, and my sister Ruxana Zaman, who used to be a youth worker a very long time ago. She was one of the founders of Jaganari Center. So alhamdulillah, we have so many people to inspire us. But Anam Hoque, consistently, he's been around.
Alhamdulillah.
I would
Alhamdulillah.
add another name, Derek Cox. Yeah.
Yes.
Derek Cox, he was also an instrumental person in our community. Done a lot of stuff for us. So
we will need to talk about him a little bit today, if possible. Yeah, we'll give some minutes on that one, inshallah.
Inshallah, we'll come back. Okay, now this is I've got 5 questions, and this time I will go one first question to Anam, and another question to Farhana. So Anam, during this COVID-19 lockdown, what's your favorite what exercise that you did during COVID-19, or a hobby? One thing that you did to keep yourself fit.
To keep myself fit, Abjol will know this. My daughter is a fanatic sports person. She does stick fighting with Abjol, Filipino martial arts, MMA. She does basketball in school, football in school, badminton in school. So she's a sports person in our family. So when COVID happened, she actually said that I got a bit of a pot belly. So she was making me run up and down in the garden, doing squats, doing press-ups. We had a routine where we were doing stick fighting, using gloves, punching, just to do some cardio. So that's what I've been doing during this COVID time, thanks to my daughter.
Alhamdulillah. What Abjol has been doing, cycling around, getting me addicted to it. But alhamdulillah. Okay, Farhana, your question.
Yeah, so Oh, I thought it was the same question.
No, it's a separate question. If you want to answer that one, you can. But the question is,
I just want to say that it's different because with the kids at home, I didn't have much free time. That's all I wanted to say.
oh no, so no exercise.
Here and there, just walks. Yeah.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
I think I think the kids are exercise.
Yeah.
Mental exercise.
Exercise in itself.
Okay, the question to Farhana. If you could hang out with one of your role models, they could be from the past or the present, who would you choose and why? Somebody famous, somebody who inspired you.
Okay, I mean, my first option would have been like Islamic perspective, but leaving that aside to my heart, I'm going to go for like Socrates.
Why?
It's just, I like the building that, the building they used to sit in, the white building with the pillar.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then just they used to have discussions. I wouldn't mind hanging around there. I'm sure like the Greek sea is very deep blue, sandy
Okay.
golden beaches.
Okay. Since Abjol is missing out, I'm going to ask him the next question.
Sure, go on in.
Okay. What was the first word that you remember that you spoke from the time of learning how to speak? What's the first word?
I don't know really. Amma.
What's that?
Amma. Something
Okay.
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Would,
You
the
mean
same question, same answer. What would your answer be, Anam?
Goo goo gaga, probably.
Goo goo gaga. And yourself, Farhana?
Well, I heard it's balla. Do you guys know what that means? Balla. What could it mean?
What does balla
Yeah,
mean?
baya. So every time I used to see
Baya.
my older brother, I would say balla, balla.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Okay. I'm almost finishing. Anam, what's the best piece of advice you've ever given? You've ever been given? What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given
The best advice I've ever been given
to you?
is from my dad. So my dad said, if you want to achieve something in life, sometimes you have to go and do it on your own. Yeah, and that's the best advice my dad gave me, because a lot of the times I've done lots of things with people and it's never worked. And then when I've done things like my dad told me on my own, I've achieved more than what I would have achieved in a group.
How's your dad?
Alhamdulillah, he's good, he's fit, he's healthy, he's enjoying life.
You should, just based on that advice, you should make dua for your dad and all our dads, inshallah, and our mums.
Yeah.
Farhana, would you like to answer that one as well?
Yeah, luckily I came across a lot of advice from especially the elder generation. I'm going to go for my mom. She said, she taught me to be considerate. She said, she gave an example, even when you're walking on the ground, be considerate to the ground when you're stepping. So I think that's a very good piece of advice that's always stuck by me even today.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Now, my last and final question for Farhana. I deal with the end of life and death all the time. So this is a death-related question. When you die, what would you want to be remembered for? What's one thing that you've done that you would want people to remember you for?
I actually think about it a lot. That's why I try to do good for others, try to establish goodness, plant good seeds everywhere. So after when I die, inshallah, people will remember me for the good things that I've done. And I hope to establish a good college one day. I started off, but it's not so big yet. So inshallah, that's something, education I leave behind.
Okay. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Anam, I've got a bonus question for you. And I'll finish with this. What sport would you compete in if you were invited in the Olympics?
What sport?
Yeah.
Do I have to be good at that sport?
No, you don't have to be good at it.
To be honest, football would probably be yeah, football, Abu Bay, would be the sport. I mean, I've done other sports, but I don't think I was ever good at marathon. Long distance running maybe could be another one, but everything else, Olympic sports I can think of, like 100 meters, I wasn't very fast. Javelin, I wasn't very strong. Yeah, what else? There's, you know, swimming, I wasn't a very good swimmer. Used to always drown. So,
Alhamdulillah, you're now safe and sound.
football, yeah, football in goal basically, but probably would have been lobbed about 1 million times.
Jazakallah khair. I'm done. The warm up's done, Abjol bhai.
Yep. Okay. Well, in another 15 minutes, you'll have another session for 2-3 minutes, inshallah. Yeah. So everyone get ready, brothers and sisters. You can call us. We're just warming ourselves up. We want to go into our topic of discussion now today: youth and community work. First of all, I'm going to go to Anam. If he can give us, tell us, what does youth and community work mean? What does that entail in for the people who may not understand, like the jargon, basically? What is youth and community work?
So generally, youth and community work is working with young people between a certain age group. There's different age groups. Some services will operate between 13 to 19, or if a young person has special education needs, can go up to 21, can go up to 25. But youth work is about supporting young people, because young people generally, when they go to school, they're involved in what is known as formal education. So they're doing stuff that the teacher prescribes, and it's part of a syllabus and it's part of a curriculum. In youth work, it's very, very informal. We don't have things that the young person has to do. It's their choice. What we do as youth workers is we support them. There's something known as the cornerstone of youth work. What we try to do when we use these cornerstones of youth work is we try to help and get the young person to firstly participate. So one of the cornerstones is participation, that they take part through their own will. No one forces them to take part in anything. They want to do it because they want to get involved. They want to learn new skills. They want to make new friends. So that's one of the first one. The second cornerstone of youth work is equality. So we give everybody the choice, we give them the right, we give them the respect. Everybody has the opportunity to take part in things they want to learn, give them new opportunities that they might not have had opportunity to do before, regardless their background, their race, their gender. We allow them to have those opportunities. The next one is about empowerment. We give them roles and responsibilities. So in youth work, when the question was asked earlier, when I was young, I was given a responsibility, a role and responsibility as a volunteer, which got me into youth work. I was able to help people, my friends, other young people in the community. So we empower young people so that they become future leaders, they become good citizens, they become the professionals that we need in our community: politicians, teachers, doctors, nurses, social workers, and all those kind of things. And then the final thing is that the cornerstone is about education. You know, we educate the generation about society, issues within society, issues within the wider community, and national issues that will affect them in their daily lives, that affects them, that affects their family, that affects their neighbors. So education is another key parcel of that. So that's known as the cornerstones of youth work. And normally when youth workers learn about youth work, these are some of the fundamental cornerstones that they learn about.
Can I ask, can I just interject, Abjol bhai?
Yeah, of course you can.
My question to you, Anam, is when you were a young lad hanging about near Valence Road, and you had somebody like Fazlul Bhai who's come down and he's got you engaged, do you really think here now in 2020 young people are being approached in the detached work? That is this work happening, or is this dead in your in the area that we all know, Hamlets in East London?
In my opinion,
don't answer that now. Yeah, okay. don't answer that. Hold on to that, inshallah. That is a hot question, and I'll get you to answer that. Yeah. Let's go to Sister Farhana. From a female perspective, how important is it in the community that we have support and allow our sisters to engage? What are the challenges in community work for our sisters, and how can we move forward on it?
Yeah. So first of all, we need to break down the barriers. There's a lot of barriers, especially for the sisters. So we need to break the barriers down, reach out to the females, and provide them the equal opportunity into education, employment, or even just passing time, whatever they enjoy doing. I always feel that us women, I hate to use that word oppressed, but we kind of are. So I wish for all women to be comfortable in their own bodies, with their own soul, and just carry them in a comfortable way and not let people bully them or push them around in doing things that they don't want to do. Yes, us women have a lot of responsibilities, and alhamdulillah, we go by all these responsibilities, but we need to think about ourselves, our mental well-being, also like destigmatize mental health issues. Provide psychosocial support. We shouldn't be ashamed of feeling depressed, being bored, feeling lonely, or even like any other stage of psychological issues. So I think be more confident, reach out for the sisters, reach out. If you need psychosocial support, reach out as well yourself. Don't be embarrassed. Don't feel shy. There's plenty of support out there. If you think you want to do something, if you think you want to open up your own business, also there's lots of organizations helping with this. So now we come to organizations. We need more funding for community organizations. We need them to centers, idea stores to be open for our sisters to spend time, take their kids there to learn, because idea stores has a lot of courses happening, because I hear in Tahammas, probably, I'm not sure, but I just heard that they might be closing down these centers. And just, yeah, so I could go on so much about sisters and issues.
Farhana, just tell us quickly how you got involved in community work. Just tell us what.
Yeah, I was going to say I could say so much, but I'd just like to add that, like, we can do voluntary work. Don't be shy, don't be reluctant, and don't think that you can't do it. Go into, like, if you want to start somewhere, go into voluntary work, and then that will help you to build confidence. Because I think with charity work, Abu Mumin approached me randomly. I didn't even know the guy. He called me up and said, do you want to do some like charity work with us? And during that time, I was going through a very difficult time. I lost 5-6 close family members, and I was about to I just gave birth to my daughter as well. And it was just a very difficult time for me, but I kept it all in, and I was staying indoors and not mixing. So that really helped me a lot. Like, I went there and I told him, look, I'm just gonna go and have a see, but if I don't feel comfortable, I won't go anymore. So the first day I went, I think it was a training session. So it was like a befriending training session. So I went there, and all the people were like so friendly, and I got my first, after going through all this, I got my first hug from Dr. Caroline, because I really needed that hug, and I wasn't even aware, because I was helping like other people in my family coping with death and everything. And she just said, like, she looked at me and she's like, can I give you a hug? And she gave me the hug, and it just built confidence, and I was like, it helped me a lot. And even with the Silat Aid trip is part of 13 Rivers Trust. Even with that, I've noticed like lots of like the sisters that did get involved, I noticed a change in them. So they got involved in the charity work, and now like they have their own careers in NHS and other fields. I see on social media. I'm very proud of those sisters that have achieved so much. So voluntary work really, really does help. And start anywhere. Don't be shy. Like, oh, my next door neighbor, she's a teacher, and how can I work in a, I'm not going to like put anyone down, so I'm not going to mention any type of work, because I think every job is valuable and it's our own choice. But don't feel like, oh, why should I do this? go for it. Start somewhere and then build up. If you want to do a ESOL course before you do your degree, go for it. Do the ESOL course. When it takes time, persevere, some dedication, and then you're there. Like, we can do so much.
Jazakallah, Farhana. Let me just draw all our viewers, mashallah. There's a lot of people actually watching us. Jazakallah for spending that time with us. Please, brothers and sisters, share, pass a message on. Let's get everyone involved in the discussion, and continue sharing even after the program's finished, especially the repeats as well. Yeah, and through that, we'll be able to reach more people and try and get the message. We got some very, very important topics we want to discuss. I know we're not going to be able to cover everything in 1 hour, but we will have lines of shows that come in, and we're going to address those. We're going to go deep into those. We're going to bring a lot of stats. We're going to give you an example. Yeah, I mean, how long can we be dependent on local authority grants? Is there any other way that we as a community can be funding our own youth and community programs? Can we become financially independent? We want to ask the question of why businesses are not supporting the community programs and projects as well. How do we engage with the businesses? The other big question is, why isn't the charity sector helping and supporting some of the biggest problems we're facing in the UK, especially with our young and community development side of it? A lot of money is going abroad. We're helping, mashallah, the ummah in various different ways, but we also have the part of the ummah that's also bleeding in the UK as well with various different social ills. So there's so many range of topics. We're not going to be able to cover all of them today, inshallah, but I'm just giving you hands up on types of directions that we're going to go in our topics and discussion. We are going to be brave because we would like to give people the opportunity to air their views. There are a lot of debates and discussions taking place as well now on various different. We want to be part of creating those debates and discussions so that policymakers can make those changes. Now, how long are we going to be dependent on local authority grants when there's cutbacks and cutbacks? We need to hold our business people to account. That we're all part of the same community. And then when one part of the community is suffering and aching, why do we not receive financial support? So these are some of the topics. Abu Bay asked a very dynamic question, inshallah. Anam, would you like to answer that, please?
Abu Bay, I think the question you asked about some of the issues about when youth work, when we had youth work, obviously, since austerity and everything else, the youth service has been absolutely decimated across the country. So lots of volunteer youth projects have closed down. The local authorities have slashed budgets for youth workers, and youth work moved away from what was kind of outreach and detach-based youth work into a much more kind of paper-based, what they call KPI, key performance indicators, which became kind of like data-based youth work. So youth workers became more like an admin type person because they were busy collecting data and information. They weren't doing the important work that was needed, which is out in the community. Nowadays, if you go out in your community, you'd be lucky if you can see a youth work on the street. That's partly because, one, there's not many youth workers left, and those youth workers that are left, they're too busy doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. My personal perspective, and something I've been fighting and urging national bodies to do, is to make sure that more youth workers are out on the streets, because during these times of COVID, there's lots of people. Yeah, one they're going to be locked at home, but other people are going to be walking out and about. It's a very difficult time. We need people out there who can engage with the youngsters, who can communicate with the youngsters, who can support them, guide them, and signpost them to things. And we just don't see that at the moment on the street. Yeah. So that's one of the key things. I think we need a lot more detach and outreach based work to happen. I think we need to take youth work back onto the streets. We need to invest in our youth services. We need to invest in our voluntary services as well, because it's not just statutory youth services. Local charities, local voluntary sector, youth organizations also play a very, very important role. And if it wasn't for some of those small voluntary charities at the moment, we would have a much bigger problem than we would see in our communities, because some of them are just keeping those pieces together and doing the best that they can. So we need a lot more of that. We need to be looking at national issues that are happening across the board with funding, how funding is being distributed into communities. We need to look at leadership, because there's a big lack of BME leadership in national bodies. We don't see Black, Asian, or minority ethnic people in senior positions within big national youth bodies, and some of those things need to change. Black Lives Matter has brought a very important agenda onto the table, and lots of things are being discussed, but it's not just discussion. We need to see some real actions. We need to see, like I said, investment in youth services. We need to see youth services making that risk and saying, no, we want people to go out into the streets. We want you to engage with some of those young people, bring them back into the youth center. Some of our youth centers are empty. We have 5-6 youth workers and 5-6 young people, coming to the youth club. When you go around the corner to a park, there's 40-50 young people. What are our youth workers doing? We need to go back and re-engage with our youngsters. So we need to go back to basics, basically.
Can I just interject here? I'm going to be a bit controversial.
Okay, Abdul.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to, but I think it's important that we need to speak our mind. I'm sick and tired of this whole youth work being politicized by so-called politicians. It shouldn't be. Everybody should support the future of our community for tomorrow and 10 years time. Young people need to be engaged, and one mayor 2 years ago invest millions where we had austerity. Sorry about my pronunciation.
Yeah.
And now suddenly we're back to cuts. Right? This needs to stop. We need to, as a I think, policy, invest on young people. How many of those youth organizations that we had back in the 80s, the 90s, are still around? Every year there's cuts. So these organizations, some of the well-known grassroots organizations, are being cut, killed off. And as a direct consequence right now, and one of the questions that Dow he asks, Dow blogs, he asks in the post, COVID-19. I am a grown man. I'm 50 years of age. I can tell you the last few days that I've been at home, it does have an impact on your mental health. What about all those young people? Who's engaging them? During this COVID-19 that's been going around for months and months, it seems now. That's my, and I don't think much is happening. Yeah. Because you're right, Anam. Youth workers have become pen pushers. They're not going out and engaging young people, and they don't have the resources to engage young people.
Anam, just before you come in, just want to kind of point out. I think Abuba, you're right in one sense that the youth workers or the youth work has been politicized. I will spin it around and I'll say it's depoliticized, to the level where no one actually prioritizes and respects the work of youth work. It's not on the agenda. It's not a priority. The big question you asked, Abubai, is during this COVID period, why hasn't there been a focus on young people? Why have they been a hidden, only time that the young people have been used in the media is that they're spreading the COVID. They're mixing and interacting. But no one's been talking. No politicians has come forward and they said, look, how are the young people coping? No researchers come out and say, look, let's study the impact of young people in their mind and their psychology while they're trapped in a home, with other siblings and so forth, in sometimes overcrowding conditions in that, I think it's because there's a lack of politicization. If you look at, you mentioned about local authorities making cuts. Why is it that some local authorities made drastic cuts and some authorities protected the youth service? Well, why is there a big difference? Why
it's a political decision. It's a political decision.
Can I just add?
Farhana,
just quickly, geographically, every area is different. So I presume Abubai is talking about Tower Hamlets. In Tower Hamlets, we have a high housing issue. And sometimes priorities are, I'm not saying that I used to be a youth worker and I totally support the youth service, but sometimes priorities are given in different areas because you have to invest, you have to like scale it, like which one is one, which one is two. So one would be given priority first. But I, as a community activist, I will push for more youth service because I think youth service do change our streets and our livelihoods and provide so much for our young people, our future. And also to add, youth services do need to do the job properly as well. Like who mentioned, Enambai, I think mentioned that there's 5-6 youth workers and like handful of young people in a youth club, and then if you go outside to the nearby park, why are they all there? So there's lots of things that we need to consider, like lots of heavy grassroots. I would say like people like I see certain brothers really active now in within Taham's politics. And way back, I've seen them work for Nafas, and they were doing the when the drugs issue became really, really bad in the 90s. I think they were doing like street work, going around, and I think they kind of like minimized this. And so, if we have more projects, good projects, it's not just about giving away all the funding or cutting everything away. Sometimes we can have funding, but we can match fund, we can do partnership work. I would say that like if we do the work properly ourselves as well, we could make a bigger change.
Yeah. Great. Before Anam comes in, I just want to mention some people have been making comments. First of all, Jazakallah to Brother Shofi Rahman for making comment. You got Brother Saiful Alams, who's actually watching us as well. Brother Jilu is also watching us. MashaAllah, he's another youth and community legend. MashaAllah, he's done so much. Thank you for watching us as well. And obviously, we've got our friend Dua Blogs, who's actually making comments as well. Very good. Thank you for that. We've got Brother Imran Hoque, Jazakallah, another big brother who's actually supporting and looking overseeing many different types of community work as well. Siddiq Ahmed, Jazakallah for watching. Adil Ali, thank you for watching. He also says that cutbacks will always be there. Raising a kid takes a whole village to do so. The community needs to come together to tackle current issues. I totally agree. We will need to kind of emphasize those elements as well. Shanaz Rashid, the funding process has done a great job in removing the passion and creativity and enabling youth and community work, including teachers, doing what they love doing the most. A very valid point. Nesma bin Abdullah is also watching. Abdul Latif watching. Adil, again, we've had that. Shahnaz is making another message, hence why we have lots of amazing youth and community workers who work tirelessly to support the youth in our community. So please, brothers and sisters, continue forwarding your messages and that, and also give us suggestions. Let's go to Brother Anam quickly to get some responses.
Yeah, very quickly, I was going to just add to what Abu Bay was saying. I think we need to make the youth and community aspect more politicized. Because if you look at it in a national perspective, youth work is still not a statutory service. Youth work is still a voluntary service. So a local authority does not need to support a youth service. They're only doing it because the local people, they see young people as their future. That's the only reason they're doing it. So there is a lot of work going on behind closed scene by the National Youth Agency, by the Institute of Youth Work, by UK Youth, and all of these big national bodies who do youth work. And a lot of our local organizations, we need to work more closely with these national bodies. They're working very hard with the political parties, with the APPG, the Association of Political Parties groups, to make sure that youth work becomes a statutory service so that every single local authority cannot put it on a back burner. It's an agenda that has to be discussed. It is an agenda that every single politician has to take an interest and make sure if they're a local councillor that they put the time and the effort to support it. That's what needs to happen. So there's lots of work going on behind the scenes. Youth workers are still not recognized as key workers. So that's one of the things the Institute of Youth Work is working on, trying to create a registration like social workers and like teachers and like nurses get, so that youth workers get the recognition. The government recognizes our role as a serious role, and we get the right type of pay, we get the right type of conditions, and eventually you will see a surge and a change in local authority services. That's where it needs to happen. So I personally think we need to politicize it as much and more in our local community. We're not doing enough, and all parties need to take a role. Doesn't matter which party you support.
And I'm sorry to disturb you. Let's see if we've got a caller. We got a call signal came in. If we do have a caller, we'll go to our caller. Okay, brothers, sisters, whoever's trying to call in, please call in. If you do get cut off, try again. We will take your calls. I'll give callers a priority, inshallah. So if there are any callers, please do give us a call. I know the topic is very, very important. And I'm just mentioned that the youth service should be more politicized. And what I understand by meaning more politicized means that we use the political tools in order to kind of drive it through. It doesn't mean that you've taken favor of one party or another party. We want to be able to see within the party's manifesto, when they come in for future elections, that is enshrined in their manifesto. It's part of their policy. So whichever way we can drive all the political parties to kind of recognize the youth service or the youth and community aspect of it. Because I can tell you a fact, if we've got a caller, let's go to the caller, inshallah. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Hello, assalamu alaikum, caller. Okay, please, if you call, just try your best. If the line's not good, keep on calling us. We will take you on. So what I was saying is basically, we as a community, let's put the youth workers to the side. Those of us who are community leaders and activists, we have a responsibility of actually ensuring that the agenda is kind of set. Now, if we as community leaders and activists, we have no vision, we have no objectives for the community, we have no direction. How do we claim ourselves community leaders? Where are we leading them to? Okay, if we don't, I say to many politicians and community leaders, what's your plan for the next 15 years for let's say the British Bangladeshi community or the Muslim community in the UK, and it's kind of blank. We've got a caller. Let's go to the caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Brother, your name and where you calling from?
My name's Siddiq.
Siddiq, Jazakallah for calling, Siddiq. You've probably been listening to us. You have a view or do you have a comment that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I think Abjol, so I think you know me quite well. So
yes, definitely, Siddiq. Yeah. Yes, your comment.
Yeah. So first of all, Jazakallah khair. It's been great listening to your comments and sort of discussions that are going on. I agree with like all of the points that you guys are making. First of all, please pray for Brother Abu Mumin and his family to for them to Allah Ta'ala to give them shifa quickly. And first of all, well done for actually for Brother Abu Mumin to actually come on live when he's not feeling well as well. So I think you are a great role model for us. And in fact, it's quite relevant to what I was going to say, because I think one of the problems we have, because a lot of you have touched on mindset, and I think people do underestimate how much that affects people, because as you're aware, I work as a life coach and I'm studying NLP as well, and mindset is really key in this sort of situation, because the point is, it's not so much the external factors that affect us, it's our thoughts about those external factors. And one thing you look at a lot in NLP is how the interrelationship between your emotions, your thoughts, and your behavior. And I think one thing that's really important, obviously there's certain things that we need to do to respond to the situation, but I think we're a bit too responsive. We wait until we have a problem and then we try and deal with it. Whereas I think what we need to do is think about what we want to plan in the future. Try and think beyond COVID. What's going to happen once we get over this? Try and think positively and create like those big plans in terms of this is what we want to do, this is what we're going to do in 6 months' time, this is what we're going to do in 12 months' time, rather than just thinking negatively and thinking, oh, we're in this situation, we can't do anything. One thing we look at a lot in coaching is that rather than start from the current situation where you're in a negative mindset, we always start from where we want to be for like 3 months' time, 6 months' time, and think about that. And you've spoken a lot about the youth as well. We need to train our youth to think in this way, because I think the education system is a bit of a tragedy, because we train young people to just follow a certain path and just become part of the system, and they lose all their creativity. Like the creativity starts at primary school level, but then after that, it's just killed off with just endless assessments. And I think we need to get our youth thinking in these ways. So rather than telling them what to do, get them to think about who they are, how they want to be, what values they believe in, what they want to achieve in the future, and focus on that. And people like yourself, Brother Abjol, Brother Abu Mumin, people like that, you create these projects to give them support, and there's lots of other people who can help in that process. And if we have a positive mindset, the point is that it doesn't matter so much what the external factors are. There's always going to be some sort of trial in life. That's the purpose of our life. The question is, how do we overcome those trials? So the way to do it is really make use of the subconscious mind, because we don't appreciate how powerful it is. The thoughts that we put into our subconscious mind will be instilled in us, and that will affect our thinking and our actions and our habitual behavior. So I think the key things are: think about what we want to achieve in the future. Think about what we want to do beyond COVID. Work together towards those projects, and let that be the focus of our thoughts. And that way, we won't be lost in this mindset about depression and all this negativity. Fine, what's going on is going on, and we need to deal with it. But let's think beyond it. And the thing, in many ways, it's a blessing, because a lot of people, they often say, look, I haven't got time. That's why I put this off. That's why I put this off. I think it's time to get out those to-do lists that you've been putting off for the last 5 years or so, dust them off and start actioning them. And if you haven't got a to-do list, make one and make your plans big. Don't just think, what am I going to do today or tomorrow? Think about, what am I going to do over the next 6 months, over the next year, and where do I want to be in 5 years' time, and create those plans from now.
Jazakallah, Brother Siddiq. Mashallah, it's always a privilege to take your intake, your input as well. Alhamdulillah, continue watching us, and also share your thoughts. You shared some very, very valuable points. I'm conscious of the time, so I want to really rush this. So if all of us can actually yeah, please. Yeah, I was going to.
Can I just add to the brother, like, excellent points. Another thing is, we can use social media to engage to the young people, like today's show, and we can use like different methods. And what Anam said about like, I think Anam Abjol about manifestos. So I truly agree that if it is given that priority, instead of being sidelined, like youth work is something, it should be part of one. We should act as a one whole community. And each of the contexts, we should treat it equally as well. And I think we should give high regards to youth work. And the other thing is, I'm quite concerned, like, we need like special protocols for youth workers, and we need to focus on that, like make it proper, like official protocols, follow protocols, have like targets, like each youth service, okay, you'll get this funding, like how we have in our education and employment, you need to recruit this amount of people by certain amount of time. So I think it should work. And I would address again that the highest issue around like our youth is actually housing. We need like bigger spacious house to accommodate for our community, especially Bangladeshi communities, Muslim communities. Our families are a little bit larger than your wider community. Think about.
Jazakallah, Farhana. Yeah, listen, because of the seriousness of the topic, I'm going to extend the program for another 15 minutes. Is that okay with brothers and sisters? Just for 15 minutes, is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, because it looks like we've only got 2 minutes, and I don't think we can conclude in 2 minutes. If that's okay with our studio manager, then we will kind of proceed and try and finish at 10:15, because I've got some pertinent question as well, and hopefully we will try and get some results from that. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to some of the comments people have been making. Shahnaz Rashid. The politics within the voluntary sector also prevent organizations from partnering up and sharing resources. Everyone wants to be an expert in every area of service delivery.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. There's a brother Shaheen, mashallah, Jazakallah Shaheen for coming on board. We at the Sunnah Trust currently run a youth leadership program called Servitude for Young People aged 14 to 18. The program is based in Sarah Hamlets. Alhamdulillah, lots of positive work is going on. And that is totally good. Thank you, Shaheen, for actually raising that. There are a lot of good work happening. Yeah, there is a lot of good work, and we want to give platform to the good work. So one of the things I'm proposing is all our youth work that we're doing, all the good work we're doing, please, make little video documentaries, send it to us. We will promote it. Okay, get young people to make it, get their interviews on, interviews, 30 seconds.
Use social media to exploit it.
Yeah. will put it on our platforms to spread it as wide as possible. What we want to do is we want to celebrate where it's working, where's good partnerships taking place. And also, Farhana, you mentioned about, doing good quality youth work. And I will tell you, there is a good model, there is a good structure, and has been providing a lot of training for that. I think what is happening is that our youth work pool is very small now because a lot of people have left the youth work and they're not engaging. We've got a lot of volunteers who are doing not youth work, but they're engaging with young people. They might not be trained and they might not have the skills because it's not easy. Like dads can't do youth work for their teenagers. Yeah, mums struggle to do youth work with their teenagers. That's why it needs to be a very specialized, and it is specialized. And what we could do, and maybe what we could look at, is how do we modify the youth work skills and the structures so that anyone can learn those principles and those values and provide it. Just like being a first aider without having a first aid qualification, you can still save lives because you know the skills and you know how to do it. Yeah, you may not have the certificate. So if we could think of how to do that, I'm very aware a lot of people would want to learn how to become a good youth worker, because if you did a survey, mums, dads, uncles, how do they engage with teenagers? How do they engage with young people? We're not skilled. We don't know. That's where one of the problem is. I'm dealing with youngsters and kids, and I want to throw a question to Anam now. Anam, if a young person came to you and he said to you, look, he needs to run away from home because he doesn't feel home is safe, how can the youth worker help and support him? Especially in our communities where we have, this stigmatization that, the youth workers are, polluting them, they're brainwashing them, they're taking them away from their community and so forth. How do we keep that balance?
I think the first thing to say, Abjol Bhai, I don't think any of our youth workers would ever want to move the child or the young person away from their family. That's never been the role of a youth worker. That would never, I would be very shocked if that was an intention of a youth worker, unless there was something around safeguarding and child protection that was happening. Then obviously that's a different matter altogether. But I think there's lots of stuff that, parents can do. There's lots of stuff that general members in the community can do. There's lots of stuff that teachers can do, youth workers can do. So we all have a role that we can play. And what I would just say is that just go out there and try it. I mean, the basic thing that you can do is, if you see, I say to a lot of people, not everybody is going to be a youth worker, and not everybody is a youth worker. To be a youth worker, you need to know and learn some special skills. There is a qualification process and a ladder that you got to go through to become qualified. So not everybody is a youth worker, but there's lots of skills that we all have, and that necessarily doesn't make us a youth worker. But just talk to young people. If you're somebody who lives in an estate and in a community, and you see young people in your corridor hanging around, smoking outside, getting up to no good, just start off by just saying hello to them. Find out what's their name. That's how you build up that relationship. You're not gonna straight away go into why are you guys doing this? Why are you guys doing that? You should be in a youth club, blah blah. That's a long-term thing. Just start basic. I'll say to everybody, get to know their name, get to know what their interests are, get to find out, how their family life. You're not being nosy. You're just trying to find out. You're trying to build a picture about that young person. Then, once you see that you've built that up, you see that young person you won't have to wait to go and talk to that young person. That young person will come and start talking with you because they know this older brother or older sister or one of my neighbors or one of my elderly, parents in the local community. They're coming up to us and they're talking with us. We don't do enough of that. Back in the days, there used to be people randomly, uncles, older brothers that used to come and, hey, what are you guys doing? What are you up to? Are you guys going to school? Are you, not getting up into mischief? Who does that nowadays? A lot of the time nowadays, we're scared. We're scared to go and ask a young person because we think they're going to do something to us. What's a young person? What's the worst a young person can do to you? They'll probably tell you to get lost. Who are you? Why are you asking me that question? And if they do, then you don't need to deal with these young people. But I say to people, try it. talk to those young people, ask them some questions, and then you see a response. They will then create that relationship with you, and then they will give you that respect. And through that, you can then start supporting them to get into more positive activities. If there's something happening in a local mosque, if there's something happening in a local community center, that's how you slowly build that relationship and tell them, look, there's this happening in, on Valence Road. There's a youth club, Valence Sports Community Association. They do football training for youngsters in Weavers Field every Saturday. If they have an interest in football, they'll come to the football session. Oh, I'm not interested in football. Okay, well, we've got a youth club that we run every Wednesday evenings. There's a session for young girls. If they want to come and do something. So this is how we've got to start getting the message out, because a lot of the times we don't talk. We need to talk.
Farhana, very quickly.
Yeah.
Do you think
Also,
a question before you answer, give your opinion. Do you think also we're failing our young girls now? Because obviously, a lot of our young girls, there's a lack of facility for them. There's lack of recognition that they need to be engaging and participate in. Do you think if that's the case, what can we do about that as well?
yeah, no, I was going to start off by saying what Anam was saying. We need to come out of the box, because our young people, not all our young people these days are into football, swimming, some might like volleyball. Even with some boys, they might be into creative arts. They might like sewing. We need to find out what our young people want. And with the girls, I think with the girls it's slightly different. It's more like girls do. I mean, I have one son and one daughter, and girls do tend to listen a lot more than the boy. It's that macho thing, I guess. But with girls, I found it easier because Anam mentioned Valence. I'm one of the trustee for Valence, and I do voluntary youth work there with the girls and sometimes with the boys as well. And I find that with the girls, it's easy to identify what they're interested in.
Hello.
And
okay, Assalamu alaikum. We've got a caller. Let's take our caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Hi,
Hello.
salam.
Your name and where are you calling from, sister?
It's Nadia.
It's Nadia, mashallah. Thank you for calling, Nadia. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Not too bad, mashallah. We've got a very lively discussion taking place, and thank you for watching, and also thank you for taking part with us as well.
Yeah,
you
interesting.
Inshallah, you have a perspective?
Yeah, so the topic around like girls' youth work has come up, and I've been like listening and taking my little notes, and I'm just sort of intrigued because I'm a youth worker myself now. And I think with girls' youth work, it does definitely differ to boys' youth work in so many different ways. But I think the main thing I've noticed is there's not a lot of opportunities for young women, in the sense that when you look around at youth clubs, you'll see there are a lot of boys' clubs, or maybe mixed clubs, but you don't really find a lot of girls' youth clubs, just girls on their own. And I've noticed a lot of parents sometimes, they want to know that their daughters are going to a girls only location, or so they may not allow them to go to a generic mixed youth club. For instance, Spotlight, it's a great youth center, but it's a mixed youth service, so a lot of parents may not allow that. I know, like in the Muslim community. So like myself, that's why I've gone into like the Rooted Forum and tried to create that, which alhamdulillah, with the help of Abu Mumin, Abu Hassanat, we've managed to do that. But I think I've come across many difficulties as well, because a lot of young girls don't know what youth work is. When you ask them, come to join to my youth club, you try to do some outreach, they have no idea what you're talking about. So it's kind of rewiring their brain to help young people understand we're not, some kind of weird people on the street, because it's something they've never seen before. So I think especially with girls, they have no idea, they've got no family members, no friends who have actually been involved in it. Whereas with young boys, you usually grew up with a group of boys. Now that boy that you grew up with is now a youth worker, so he's come back to the area to kind of bring you on the right path, which seems to be the pattern. So, obviously it's a work in progress. Inshallah, we will get there. But now that COVID has hit, it's a very difficult task. So even, I guess the question to you all, what do you think is the right way to go about it? Out and starting the youth club during this time.
Okay, before we go to our guest, I'd just like to make my 5 pence of contribution, if that's possible, yeah? And obviously, Abu is eager to kind of like make his contribution. That's why we extended a little time. Now, I think definitely there is a big issue, and we will explore some of those in some of the other future programs. But one thing I do see where people are engaging and becoming very activist is volunteering in charity sectors. Now, there are so many sisters I've seen that are actually at the forefront of charity work, charity campaigns, charity challenges. You know, like there are sisters who are climbing mountains, there are sisters who are cycling. There are so what I'm thinking is what you know, are people shifting away to other forms of activities, and the youth work is being neglected? And if that's the case, how do we marry both together as well? How do we have that activism? Because I know some parents might say, "Well, no, 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 I'm not sending my daughter to a youth club. What she's going to learn there? Yeah, this is all outer curriculum and all that kind of stuff." But then if she's learning good stuff, if she's learning life skills that's going to help her, support her, you know, for her to have the confidence, and she can have same access in achieving something. I mean, some sisters want to do archery, but they can't do archery in some of the local areas. Yeah, they keep on phoning me, messaging me, "Uncle, can you do archery?" Suddenly during the COVID period, you know, some of us started to do cycling, sisters phoning up, "Oh, you know, we don't have bikes, can we do," you know, and there's a dilemma. "Oh, if I'm as a female, if I'm cycling, then what do you think the community is going to say?" But I say to them, look at Myland Road and look at the Olympic Village. How many sisters are cycling? Yeah, they are cycling now. So I think what we've got to do is we've got to normalize some of those positive activities, not be afraid and ashamed about it, but kind of promote it in the community, create the safe space that is required for sisters to be able to do this, and also pressure community organizations for them to be able to reflect on their process and their programs and make it more dynamic in engaging with a range of different young people from various different backgrounds. Now, to give you an example, we've got the PlayStation warriors. Yeah, a lot of youngsters are online playing PlayStation. They spend hours and hours on PlayStation. They have their own community on PlayStation. Youth work doesn't necessarily mean it's got to be in a center. Youth work has different stages. There's outreach. There's base work, and there's detached work. There's also project work. So you can do a lot of. I can do youth work without even having a building, but it's my attitude. I've recently taken a group of youngsters, and you know, you could see the happiness in their face. They were never able to do this if it wasn't for the project paying for them to go and do it. We took a group of lads to airsoft games. It was their best experience of their life. They keep on for the last 6 days. They've been talking about it. You know, so we as community leaders and activists, we've got to do good things, and you will see people will join you. I sometimes take my archery set and go to the park, and you see how many kids come and play with you. Yeah, if you do something, they will do it with you. And if we as a community can support with the infrastructure, you know, with some of the, you know, equipments and things like that, I'm sure there's a lot of volunteers out there would want to get involved and get. Because at the end of the day, we're safeguarding our future. You know, if I want my kids to be good, I've got to make sure his friends are good as well. So if I take my kid out, and if I take his friends out and ask the other dads to come along, then we're helping our community. So there's many different ways we can do it. And I don't want to make this show a political show. Anam's touched on it. We can have a national impact. I'll be very keen to take some of the learning from Anam, types of approaches that we can do and influence people in various different sectors so that it is an agenda. It's not put on the back benches. We all, as community leaders and activists, we can play our part.
Can I just say to Nadia's comment, just add to it?
Yes, please.
It's all about representation. So we need women leadership. Then we'll have more women youth clubs. Like, for example, in Valence, I'm the only female trustee. So naturally, they always had boys things happening. So I had to push for a girls club. And the other issue is that we don't have that many numbers for females unless you're very good. You know, at doing your outreach and having that consistent number coming. Also, like parents with boys, they probably just want to like stay out as long as you want. With girls, they want to protect them, keep them home. I'm just saying. So maybe they want their daughters in a comfortable, safe environment. So as females, we need to make sure that we build that trust with the family, the parents, and also the way I do it is just with girls, young girls in particular, young women, it's usually there's a lot of emotions involved, emotionally imbalanced. They come from different situations, probably some suffering domestic violence, drug abuse as well, you know, boyfriends pushing them into a certain way. And then you have like all different issues they might have, and they tend to be quite emotional. So when you deal with young girls, first of all, you have to build that trust with them and their family if they have guardians, and then find out. What I usually do is do questionnaires. I give them questionnaires out on the first day just to fill up on their needs and interests, and also what they think their area of development is. You know, it could be from like they want to do sewing, or they want to have like they want to be more articulate when they're speaking, more confident, public speaking, or IT skills. And then also we have like small workshops with the girls, and then build, you know, that not build, break that bridge between the youth workers and the girls. And then I don't know, we in Valence we've been having really successful like youth clubs for girls running for the past few years.
Inshallah, what we'll do, Farhana, we'll do a show where we get loads of other different community organizations to come on board, and we'll have a cross-party partnership approach. Very quickly, I just want to read some messages. Okay, well, you know, Farhana Begum, Sister Farhana Begum saying, Abu Bay, you need to get back to doing youth work again. Yeah, so that's a direct message to Abu Bay to get back onto the field. I mean, I do say.
Can I just say, after 2013, the year my mother died, I stopped, and it's only 6 months ago I've got back involved with the Rooted Forum, Shadow Youth Club, and watch this space. You're going to see some amazing work happening, inshallah.
Okay, well, you heard that. Abu Bay is going to be landing back into youth work. I haven't actually departed.
I'll be keeping an eye on him.
Yeah.
I'll be keeping an eye on him.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't departed from youth work. I just do it a little bit differently through martial arts and other social activities and that. But I'm going to do something very big, inshallah, with Anam support, because I want to make an impact on a national level. Let's go. We've got Brother Fakhrul Bhai, mashallah. Fakhrul Haq Bhai, he's also engaged with us, and mashallah, you know, like he's another legend in the community, mashallah. Yeah, he's joined, and he also says the key to changing the current situation is to have better partnership and collaborative work between organization groups. Too much solo working in environment where resources are scarce. 100%, and that's what we want to do. And this is why we from 13 Rivers Trust, we're not afraid to work in partnership. We are not afraid to work with good organizations out there that are doing positive delivery. We will work together. We will share our knowledge and our expertise.
Abjol, we don't have a lot of time. Can I have 1 minute of airtime?
No, you do have time. I'm giving you the best time for the end.
Okay, all right. Got it. Sorry.
Yeah, we do.
I'll let you.
Okay.
Sorry to butt in.
So I just want to go through all the people who are actually messaging us. Yeah, mashallah, much needed conversation by Brother Abdul Qadir, Yusuf Khan. I'm waiting for a response from Brother Fakhrul. I don't know what discussion's taking place, but you know, there's something happening there. Yeah, big jazakallah to all the brothers and sisters who have actually messaging us. Obviously,
there was a Brother Yusuf Khan wants to meet Anam to discuss youth work for Weavers Community Forum. So yeah, that would be something useful.
No, definitely. I think Anam, there's going to be a lot of people coming towards your way, because I think people do want good youth workers and good expertise. Inshallah. So let's go back to our guest now, because we've got a couple of more minutes, and let's do a summary and last contribution. So let's start with Sister Farhana. Your last takes, inshallah, for today.
Okay, I'll firstly start off by saying that my name is not Farhana, it's Farhana and Zaman. I think that's why some people get confused. Just like to say that I really enjoyed this show, and I'm so like overwhelmed with it, like so many people actually making and engaging with this discussion. It's a very important discussion. But I don't want to end it in a serious way, so I'm just going to ask the viewers 3 questions, and they need to answer it, and then later I'll say if you're correct or not. So because this show is called the 13 Rivers, so it means Shat Samudra Tero Nodi. So I'm assuming it's related to from traveling to Bangladesh to London. So I have some 3 questions for Bangladeshi viewers especially, and if you're not Bangladeshi, you can always Google it. Can you name 3 the three of the biggest rivers in Bangladesh. Can you tell me how old is Bangladesh? And can you tell me geographically how big is Sylhet?
Wow.
I hope that's okay.
Google it. Yeah. That's good. But okay. Well, shall we come back to you then again? Because obviously you want a response to that. Yeah. Anam, your last comments.
Yeah, all I would just wanted to add a comment to Sister Nadia. I think Nadia, the best way to support those young girls and young women that you're supporting, you have to be the leader, and they need to see you as a role model. When they see you as a role model, they will then come forward to become volunteers, and then obviously you need to go and look out for the right kind. There's lots of different bodies doing training and funding. There's lots of funding opportunities for young women's work out there. You just need to go and look. So, contact us, contact some of the relevant national bodies, and I'm sure they will jump at the opportunity to come and support you and your young women and the girls project that you have at the Rooted Forum. That's the first thing I would say. Second thing, just to add to Abjol Bhai's points earlier, a lot of the times youth work gets diluted. When we were talking about, people doing, climbing mountains and things like that, we have something called global youth work. People have forgotten about global youth work. We have something called outdoor education. People have forgotten about outdoor education. We have something called international youth work, international volunteering. There's lots of things out there, but sometimes if you don't know about it and you're not in the right place, you're not going to know how to connect the dots together. Like, for example, if somebody's doing a charity walk, doing Snowdon Mountain or climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, you should be able to connect the dots together and connect with a project out there, and then bring that learning back into your community and then be able to do something. Sometimes we don't do that. The question about working in silos, yes, we do too much of that. Sometimes we have to learn how to connect the dots. And that's why I say, when you do youth work, don't just think about your local area. Think about the area that's outside your area. Then think about the borough. Then think about London, for example, and then think outside London and think nationally. Because the issue that's affecting you is affecting everybody. Yeah. And the only way we're going to tackle this is tackling it together with the community, with parents, with the right type of youth workers, and with political support. I'm going to keep coming back to that. We need the political support, because without them, we can't do nothing. So we got to keep pressuring our local councillors. We got to keep pressuring our local MPs. And we got to keep pressuring the all-party political party groups to make sure that those agendas never get lost, and we keep discussing youth work, because everybody's realizing that the only way we're going to deal with, reducing youth violence, the only way we're going to reduce youth unemployment is we got to bring youth work back on the agenda.
Fantastic. Farhana, did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yes, you got it right.
Do you know why I got it right? Yeah. Now, I suffer from a concept called dyslexia. So my brain, it's telling me correct, but my mouth is saying something different. So I have to slow it down and then kind of connect the dots for myself to get that right. Inshallah.
But you're not the only one. I have that quite often, like people addressing me as Farhana for some reason. So.
Yeah, but they don't have dyslexia, you see.
I know.
Anyway, your last comment before me and Abu Bhai round up, inshallah, yeah?
Oh no, I just think that, one community, we work together, partnership work, we help each other. Every issue is related to one another. Like I said, youth issue is related to housing, and then you have employment related to barriers that women face. So it's all about breaking down barriers, and getting that political support is useful as well.
Jazakallah, mashallah. Abu Bhai, mashallah, we've actually gone over the time, but we can still do it.
Jazakallah khair. This is my 1 minute or 1.5 minute of.
No, 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Okay. Anam, yes, Farhana, Fokro, Yusuf Bhai, Shaheen, all the people who are messaging in, we need to take lead. We are the leaders. Back then, we had people like Fazl Bhai, Salam Bhai, many of the activists who were dealing with racism, institutional racism. We now need to take the lead. So let's come together. Let's work in our individual unit and take the work forward. Young people are our future, no doubt. We have to invest in our future. We know before COVID, knife crime, antisocial behavior, drug dealing was increasing. We have to take interest in this area of work. Otherwise, we will lose our future. I think charities and mosques, local association, local football clubs, we need to do more. We need to come together. And one fundamental shift I would suggest and recommend that we need to become independent of the local authority. Unfortunately, sometimes because we really are passionate, we sometimes are so dependent on the local authority funding. And when that is taken away, the entire workload collapses. So the charities and the mosques working together will develop a model of sustaining the work year on year on year on year without any interruptions. And my last point or question to Anam and Farhana, or everybody who's listening, what is your 10-year vision for youth and community work in your area? Thank you very much.
Jazakallah, Abu Bay. I'm not going to allow them to answer that because that will be for one of our next discussions we have in a future show, inshallah. Yeah, which is a very, very good question to ask, inshallah. First of all, can I thank all our brothers and sisters who took their time out to spend with us on live on our platform. Those brothers and sisters who shared, and also those brothers and sisters who messaged us, and especially the brothers and sisters who actually called us in as well. Jazakallah for your comments and time. Also, big jazakallah to our guest, Brother Anam. Mashallah, he has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the youth service, and we need to utilize him more effectively as well. Inshallah, obviously, I picked up very, very good pointers from him that I can take some action with. Sister Farhana, mashallah, her contribution, and she's still active in the community. She's providing very good role model and leadership as well. And we want to see more sisters actively involved in community work. Inshallah, my kind of feedback today was to kind of like introduce the topic, inshallah. We haven't done justice. It is a very a wide subject. There's a lot of elements that we need to really go into details. And that's why today's discussion is not the end, it's actually the beginning. And through that, if we can get some collaboration or partnership work with various different community organizations and youth workers coming together, alhamdulillah, if our discussion has created that approach, then that would be very, very good. What I'm doing from 13 Rivers is taking some of the opportunity to engage with young people, engage with the community, and we are thinking of ways of how to, kind of marry youth work and community work together so that, there is benefits on both areas, because one without the other is not going to work. So I want to just make an appeal to everyone out there. If we want to create a shift in becoming independent, then we also have to shift in the way we utilize our pocket with our money. I know many of us, mashallah, we donate a lot to a charity organization that are doing really, really fantastic good work overseas, and you need to continue doing that because that's a duty upon you as a believer for helping and supporting the ummah. But you also have a responsibility of looking after your communities in the countries that you live in, and we're actually in the UK. So some of the problems and difficulties that we face in the UK collectively, and as communities, we have responsibility of providing some solution and making positive contribution to that as well. So we need to think of ways of how we shift some mindsets. If we were to kind of, as a charity organization, say we wanted to raise money for youth work, very good, positive youth work, with these outcomes, how many people would actually donate? How many people would donate? They're most likely not going to donate. Why? Because our Islamic scholars and our leadership haven't informed the community the virtues of trying to look after your own house, in the virtues of saving your kids from the fitna of some of the problems that we're facing. They need to be saying that. They need to create the environment so that when people think, hold on, if I give my £60 abroad, I can give my £20 for the UK kind of programs and projects where the communities will benefit here, and I will see some of those benefits as well, and I will get the reward as well. So there's a lot of work that we got to do in the community in order to create that shift. However, we can also actively take part in various different ways. I like to support all the youth workers who are doing their best at the current difficult situation. We should not put them to the sideline, and I totally agree with them. They should be recognized as key workers. but obviously we've got a lot of work to do in order to get them recognized in that way. So for those of you who would like to become helpers and volunteers, inshallah, if you want to engage with us, if you want to get involved with some of the good work that we're doing, please don't hesitate to contact us. We've got a fantastic initiative coming up. If any brothers who are, very keen cyclists, if you are a very keen cyclist, you have some time, you can share 2 or 3 hours. We're doing a very unique program where we're going to be delivering food to COVID victims or poor people who really desperately need it within the period of 6 months, because obviously the situation is changing now. There's a lot of people going to be trapped in their houses, especially people on low income, who are very, very poor, who are recognized with their difficult financial circumstances. We are going to be providing hot meals to them. We are urging brothers to come forward. If you enjoy cycling, you'll be rewarded. We will be able to pay for your time as well. But we would like to have a team of cyclists who come and help and support us in delivering those food. We're looking at a program within the next 3 to 4 weeks, inshallah. So there's a lot of good work taking place. Stay with us and go to our webpage, inshallah, 13 Rivers Trust, and you will get some of the information there very soon. If not, give us a call. So on that particular note, thanking all our guests and all our brothers and sisters out there, from me, Abjol, and my co-host, Brother Abu Mumin, and from 13 Rivers Trust. Jazakallah for everyone watching. Inshallah, next week, same time, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, with different topic, with new guests, inshallah. And time to time, we will bring in people of different backgrounds and expertise to stay engaged with you so that we can have a good community online, so that we remain engaged and we can learn from each other, inshallah. On that particular note, Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.